Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the next game in the Demolition League, in the 1987 American League replay. We are at game number 326. It's another game on the May 31st docket. And for some reason, I'm looking at my phone here, and I'm getting circles in the sand. Hopefully that's not a harbinger of things to come here. Hopefully this is working. We will find out in just a second. Now it looks like we're okay. Okay, at first I thought I was getting circles in the sand, but it looks like we're doing okay now. All right, so it's the Cleveland Indians against the Milwaukee Brewers. Tale of two teams, each going in different directions. Milwaukee challenging the Yankees for first place in the American League East. Hello, Dr. D. And Cleveland down in the dumps with Baltimore and Boston. But good pitching matchup today. Left-hander Greg Swindell against left-hander Juan Nieves. That is the pitching matchup for today's game. Swindell is 4-4, which doesn't sound like much, but when your team is 21-28, being 4-4 is actually, a pretty decent accomplishment. So he'll see what he can do here. Juan Nieves is coming to the game 5-2 for the Brewers. Cleveland Stadium, singles are 1-11 for both left and right, but home runs slightly different, 1-8 for left and 1-11 for right-handers. All right, pitcher-catcher hold. Swindell is a -3. Chris Bando is a +1 for a -2. Nieves is a 0 hold, and Surhoff's a 0 arm, so he's got a 0. Pass ball, Surhoff a 5, and Bando is a 9. Wild pitches and balks. Nieves is a wild pitch 4, balk 0, and Swindell's just the exact opposite, 0 wild pitch and a 4 balk. So kind of weird how that worked out, but that's just the way it turned out. There you see the starting lineups for both teams. Greg Swindell, again, on the real season, he was 3-8 with a 5.10 earned run average. And as we bring up the Strat-O-Matic computer, on the replay, he's 4-4 with an even ERA of 4. 74 innings pitched, 70 hits, 32 walks, and 64 strikeouts. And yes, tools of the trade have to be here. Got to have the coffee. And that is some good coffee. I actually put it in the microwave 30 seconds before I came up here just to get it extra warm, and I can taste it. It's not burning my mouth, but it's pretty close. But hopefully that'll help it retain the heat. All right, so here is Paul Molitor. On the real season, Molitor hit .353. On the replay so far, he's hitting .408 and 103 at-bats. So he's had enough at-bats now where .408's no joke. 6 homers and 32 driven in. Get a 1-8, and that's going to be another single for Paul Molitor. So he continues his hot hitting. Gets the base hit off of Swindell. And he's looking to get the lead. Needs a 4, 5, or 6 to obtain that lead. And he gets the lead with the 4. So he's going to go 19 being held as a 17. And then the -2 here is a 15. So 1-15, and he will steal it. And he got caught stealing. Wow, bad break there on the D20 as Chris Bando throws him out. Throws a strike down to Bernazard at second, and that will eliminate Molitor from the base paths. That brings up Robin Yount, center fielder. Yount on the replay is hitting .324. 10 homers, 39 driven in. He hit .312 real world. 3-7, and that's going to be a strikeout. So 2 away now for Cecil Cooper, the designated hitter. Kind of interesting they use him as a DH against a lefty, but he actually had 32% of his at-bats come against left-handed pitching, so lefties apparently didn't bother him very much. He's hitting .219 on the replay, 6 homers, 17 driven in. He hit .248 real world. Lefty-on-lefty matchup, 4-12. It's a ground ball pitcher B, and I don't know what this is on the card. Almost looks like, I guess it should be a tired dot, maybe, but it's not a very good filled in dot. But I guess if he's fatigued, that would be a hit. But in this case, it's just a ground ball back to Swindell to end the inning. And the Brewers go pretty quiet at the top of the first. Nothing doing for them. Hello, Mr. Gudeman. I got the good hot coffee ready to go. Tools of the trade. Have to have it. It's just mandatory mandatory stuff here. So, and actually, like I was saying, I put it in the microwave 30 seconds before I came up here to make sure it was piping hot. That way it'll stay warmer longer. At least that's my theory. Whether that plays out or not, I don't know. All right, so that'll bring up Juan 19th Nieves breakdown. He was 14-8 on the real season with a 4.88 ERA. On the replays, 5-2 with a 4.55 earned run average. 55 innings pitched, 54 hits, 27 walks, and 45 strikeouts. Leading off will be pesky leadoff man Brett Butler. Butler on the replay is hitting 410 in 117 at bats. So like I said, once you get over 100 bats, it's not an anomaly anymore. He's a good hitter. He's doing well. He hit 295 real world, but he's hitting 410 on the replay. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. So Butler up here against Nieves, 2-8, and that's a solid single for Brett Butler to lead off the ball game for Cleveland, just like Molitor did. Now Molitor got caught stealing. We'll see what happens with Butler. It's a 0 pitcher-catcher quotient, so if he gets the lead, it's basically a 1-13. It's a 9. He does not obtain the good lead, so he will hold. And here is Julio Franco. Franco hitting 296 on the replay. 2 homers, 24 driven in. He hit 319 on the real world season, but he's hitting 296 right now. 5-2, and that's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Rob Deere. He's a 3E10 is Mr. Deere. 3 and 15, he'll get to that. That's an 8, and that you would think wouldn't be a problem, but we'll find out. E10, and there is no 8, so it's good play for Rob Deere. And Butler will retreat to first base. 1 away. It's going to bring up Pat Tabler, first baseman. Tabler on the replay is hitting 347 in 199 at bat. So this is a bat number 2. He may be the first guy getting his 200th bat in this replay because he's had 199 at bats right now. 4 homers, 28 driven in. He had 307 real world. But this is at bat number 200 for Pat Tabler in the replay. It's pretty historic to get somebody with 200 at bats. 6-7. Ground ball second base X. Now they were holding Butler on, so that means the second baseman Gantner is responsible when a righty is batting. So that moves him up to a 3. He's a 3E14 now because he was responsible for holding the runner. See if that makes a difference. Nope, 17 is not going to make a difference. 3 and a 17 and 2 and a 17, virtually the same. They're both G1s. So it will be a possible double play. That's a 14, and he is an E14. So a 14 and a 14. And there's no 14 there. There's a 15 and a 16, but no 14. So a tailor-made 4-6-3 double play. And maybe we'll get Giovanni's Tailor Shop to sponsor the tailor-made double play of the game going forward. I don't know. But it is a tailor-made double play that ends the inning. At the 1 complete, we got no score from Cleveland. Swindell will come back out and face Gear, Paciorek, and Braggs. A lot of the righties are batting in this ball game for the Brewers that don't normally play, i.e. Jim Paciorek. He's usually sitting on the bench, and Greg Brock's usually the first baseman, but with a lefty on the mound, they're giving Jim Paciorek an at-bat. Hello, Jeremiah. Good to see you. Speaking of coffee, I saw that comment about coffee, so I'm going to drink some more while it's hot. Get it while it's hot, as they say. And, Jeff, that is good coffee. In fact, it's so good I'm going to have a second sip. I just double dipped. How about that? All right, so Rob Deere hitting 227 on the replay, 6 homers and 25 driven in. He's getting 238 real season. 6-8, and that's a 1-4 single. The Devil Die's a 3, so there you go. Devil Die showing up early. Leadoff single for Deere. He can get the lead with a 7. And he gets the 7, so he's going to go. He's a 15. 17, -2 being held is a 15. And the -2 again is a 13. So 1-13, and he will steal it. And he's in there, stolen base for Rob Deere. You don't think of him stealing many bases, but he just did it right there. Stolen base for Rob Deere. In fact, I look at his stolen base totals for the real season and now on the replay. In real world, he stole 12 bases, got caught 4 times. On the replay, that's his 4th stolen base without being caught. So he's done pretty well, obviously. Here's Jim Paciorek, right-handed hitter. He's in there against the lefty Swindell. Paciorek only has 42 at-bats on the replay. He only had 101 at-bats real world, hitting .228. In 42 at-bats, he's hitting .286, a homer and 7 driven in. So now Swindell with a runner in scoring position facing Paciorek. 2-9, and that's going to be a ground ball third base A. So once again, you don't always steal just to get the guy in scoring position. You also steal to avoid double plays. And that was twofold right there because that would have been a double play. Instead, it's just a ground out. So it's like in chess. You got to think several moves ahead. You just don't think about the next at bat. You got to think, ramifications, 3 or 4 batters out if you want to really get the best you can get out of the game. Hello, Blaine. Here is Glenn. No brags, just facts. He's hitting .292, 6 homers, 30 driven in, and he hit .269 real world. 412, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at the shortstop, in this case, Julio Franco, a 2E26. 2E26. 2 and a 7. See if he can get to that. At shortstop, he should. 2 and a 7 is going to be a G2, so his only play will be a force play. Well, actually not a force play because the run's on second, but he'll get to it. That's the point. And that's an 8, and he is an E26. E26, there's no 8, so it's good play. And I'm pretty sure the runner on second has to hold, but I'll verify it just to make sure. I don't want to presume anything. So a runner on second, if it's hit to the right side, then you can go here. So it says right side. If it's hit to the short, you can do it to side, but I don't think with Rob Deere running as a 12, I don't think deciding would be a very good idea. We're going to decide to hold him. That's going to be our decision. So still leaves him in scoring position with 2 outs, where a 2-out hit can bring him home. And they're going to depend on B.J. Surhoff, the catcher, to get that 2-out hit. This is a clutch situation. And in the clutch, he gets a couple extra hits right here, 1-8 and 1-9 and 2-2. So there you go. On the replay, Surhoff is hitting 330 actually on 88 at bats. He hit .299 real world. 2 homers, 9 driven in. That's a 5-8 lefty on lefty, and that's a strikeout for Swindell, his second, and that will end the inning. Hello, Justin, and thank you for that comment. So we go to the bottom of the second. Still no score. Due up for the Tribe is the much struggling Joe Carter. And Carter actually has had more than 200 at-bats. He's had 217 at-bats in this replay and is still only hitting 175. So as someone once said in baseball, it's not early anymore. When you're almost into June, it's not early anymore. He's just struggling. He hit 175 on the replay, 8 homers, 17 driven in. Real season, 264 with 32 home runs. So he's just been off the whole year for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he is. 5-10, and there you go, strikeout. So, and for Carter, that is his 43rd strikeout of the season in his 218th at bat. Here's Corey Snyder. Snyder hitting 243 on the replay, 8 homers, 24 driven in. He hit 236 real world. That's a 4-6, and that's a base on balls. First walk issued by Nieves. Snyder, not really a threat to run, will hold. And here comes Andre Thornton. Boy, talk about a bad year. He had a bad year in 1987. He hit 118 in 85 at-bats. I guess it took him 85 at-bats to figure out he was washed up. So on the replay, he's hitting 196 in 56 at-bats. So he's doing a little bit better. No homers and a run driven in. But a definite double play combination, or definitely a double play possibility here. 110, but it's a ground ball short B, so just a fielder's choice, 6-4. So despite his speed of 8, his slow running, maybe his contact off the bat was so weak that he didn't hit the balls hard enough to get the double play chance. So they have to settle for the fielder's choice. It's going to go 6-4 for out number 2. Thornton at first, not being held, obviously. And here comes Brooke Jacoby, third baseman. Hello, Praise. Good to see you. Jacoby hitting 341 on the replay, 7 homers, 28 driven in. He hit 300 even on the real season. 4-6, and that is going to be another walk issued by Nieves. His second walk of the game. Did I do a 110? What happened on Thornton? 110, not a 210. Let me look at Thornton here. 210. It was a 110, so it was a fly to center is what you're saying, Dan. It should have been a fly to center, not a ground, not a, well, 210 would have been a double play, so it couldn't have been that. I'm over here on the left side, my bad. So it should have been a double play, is what you're saying, Dan. It should have been a double play. It should have, instead of a B, it should have been a ground ball shortstop A double play. Okay, I appreciate it, Dan. I will fix it. We can get that corrected. So Jacoby's walk never happened. The way it turns out, Jacoby's walk never happened. It will be a 6-4-3 double play, as it should have been. I want to be accurate, so thank you, Dan, for letting me know that. I missed it somehow. So we will backtrack on the computer, and I will fix that fielder's choice and make it another tailor-made double play sponsored by Giovanni's Tailor Shop. And it is a typical 6-4-3 twin killing. There we go. Thank you very much for that, Dan. And that means that Jacoby will actually lead off the next inning. Not sure how I managed to misread that, but it happens from time to time. Happens to the best of us and the worst of us. So, hello, Kathy, and coffee time right here. Yeah, Veterans Day is always kind of I don't know. It's never felt right about that. I mean, I was in the military, but I don't feel like a veteran because I was never in a war. So to me, Veterans Day should be people that were in wars. That's just me. But I mean, yeah, I was in there for 3 years and all that stuff, but I never really felt like a veteran per se. But that's just me. When I picture in my head of a veteran is some guy, some 70-year-old guy in a what are those hats called? Like a Legion type hat or something, sitting around reminiscing about the war stories they were in. That's, to me, that's what a veteran is. So I don't know, but that's just me. All right, here is Jimmy Gantner. He's hitting 299 on the replay. No homers, 9 driven in. He hit 272 real world. 2-8 lefty on lefty, and that's a ground ball to short, and that's one away. I mean, I basically went in to get college money, and that was the reason. It wasn't anything patriotic. I just wanted the college money, so that's what I did it for. I was just fortunate enough there were no conflicts. Got in peacetime and got out before the Gulf War started. So, like I said, I don't consider myself a veteran per se, because I have a picture of what a veteran is in real life in my mind's eye. And I don't see myself as that, but whatever. All right, here's Dale Swain, 312, 9 homers and 28 driven in on the replay. 5-7, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. That's a 2E26 for Franco. 2-17 is going to be a good play. E26, and that's a 7. There is no 7 there, so good play. Franco will make the first 2 outs, record the first 2 outs, rather. 2 down, bases clear. Back to the top of the order from Mahler. Molitor singled and was caught stealing his first time up. Don't forget, we have a real actual doubleheader tomorrow morning. Minnesota and Detroit, they were rained out on the 30th, so they have an actual doubleheader scheduled tomorrow on the 31st. And we, of course, will be playing both games with no break, maybe a 2-minute break between games, but that's about it. But I have the score sheet all set up. All I got to do, I got one game on game one on one side, game two on the other side. When the game's over, just flip it over, and the cards are already here. Should be a very quick transition, hopefully. All right, here's Molitor. 310 for Molitor, and that's a strikeout. And that will end the inning. Third strikeout for Swindell, so he's done very well for himself. He's kept this powerful Brewer lineup off the scoreboard. So here is Mr. Jacoby, who gets his real at-bat now. Had a false at-bat when I erroneously credited Thornton with a fielder's choice versus a double play. So Jacoby now will get an actual at-bat against Nieves. 2-4, and that's a ground ball to third, and that's one away. One down. And that will send us to Tony Bernazard, second baseman. Bernazard hitting .249 on the replay, 7 homers, 28 driven in. He will get traded to Oakland later, but right now he's on Cleveland, hit .250 real world. Switch hitter from the right side, 5-3, ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Swain, 3E25 for Swain. 3 and a 14 is good. E25 and a 10. There's not many errors on 10, so not here either. So, or either. I'm not sure if there's any English majors out there can tell me if it's appropriate to say that word as either, or appropriate to say the word as either, or can you do it either way you want? I mean, it's like tomato, I guess. I don't know. I always use the word, I always call it either, but I've heard it said either. So either way, I've heard it done both ways. So anyway, here's Chris Bando hitting .203, a homer and 10 driven in. He hit .218 on the replay. 4-6, and that's going to be a base on balls. I was a mathematical science guy, not an English major guy. So Bando draws the 2-out walk, and that'll take it over to Brett Butler. Butler singled his first time up with a race on a double play. 3-5, and that's a single to center. There's an anti-clutch, but the runner is not in scoring position, so the single is going to stand. Bando, a slow runner, will hold at second base. Now we got first and second, 2 outs, and a clutch situation for Julio Franco. Okay, Blaine, so you're saying they're both correct. Okay. So here's Julio Franco. In the clutch situation for Franco, you can see how he loses hits here. 1-8, 1-9, and 1-10 all turn into outs. And for good measure, 3-10 does as well. That's a 1-11. He skips the anti-clutch, goes to a ballpark effect, 1-11, but that's a 17. So he will line it to short, and that will end the inning. So 3 innings in the books, and we got nothing going on, no score. Much different than the previous game where it had so many runs. So we go to the top of the fourth. Zilch is on the scoreboard. Here's Robin Yount. Struck out his first chance. 4-2, and that's a split chance. 1-12 is a single. That's a 16. He lines it to short, where it is taken up there by Julio Franco. So that's one away, and that will take us to Cecil Cooper. 6-5 against the lefty. It's a fly ball to left, and that's going to be hauled in by Joe Carter. 2 down for Rob Deere. Deere singled and stole a base his first chance. 6-7, and that's a base on balls from Swindell. And Swindell, that's his first walk he has issued. And Deere, thinking he probably got away with one last time, is not going to try for the lead this time. Probably got lucky getting a steal last time. So here's Pashort. 3-9 for Pachork, and he grounds to short to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the fourth. Still nothing doing here at good old Cleveland Stadium, otherwise known as the Mistake by the Lake. And that'll bring up Pat Tabler for the Tribe as they take on Juan Nieves. No score. Tabler hit into a double play his first chance. Get a 3-7, and that's a fly to left field. One down, and here is Joe Carter, the ever-struggling Joe Carter. 6-7, ground ball second base X. We're looking at Gantner. He's a 2E14. 2-16, now he'll get to that all day long. The E14, and that is a 12 on the E14. Second base, 14. There's no 12, so it's a good play for Gantner. He will retire Joe Carter. 2 up, 2 down. You're in the bottom of the fourth. Brings up Corey Snyder. Snyder walked, was erased on a double play. First time up, 2-5, and he's going to fly to center. How about that? Both pitchers matching goose eggs through 4 innings. Since it will be a doubleheader tomorrow, probably we'll start it a little early, maybe at 8:30 instead of at 9, just to get it done quicker. Probably we'll do that. Maybe not. You have to wait and see. All right, so here's Glenn Braggs starting the fifth. 6-3, and that's a strikeout for Swindell. Strikeout number 4 for Mr. Swindell. And that'll send up B.J. Surhoff. Struck out his first chance. 4-6, and that's going to be a single, 1-18. 12 is there, so base hit for Mr. Surhoff. 1 out single. He actually could obtain a lead, but he also gets picked off on a 10 through 12. So you could be taking your chances. Plus the -2, it'd be a low percentage. So they'll hold him on to make sure he doesn't obtain a lead automatically. They'll hold him on, but other than that, he's not going anywhere. Here's Gantner. 3-6 for Gantner, and that's a ground ball first base A. 3-6-3 double play. That's not necessarily a tailor-made double play, but I think Swindell will take it either way you go. So that's going to end the inning. Go to the bottom of the fifth, still no score. Maybe both teams need more coffee to get some runs. So let's get some coffee here to get some runs going here. But if you like the shutout, maybe you don't want the runs. Maybe you like to see a 1-0 game. I don't know. Don't know if it's good pitching or poor hitting or a combination thereof. And Jeff, that is still good, warm coffee. Good thing I think doing the 30-second microwave trick right before I came up here helped out, because it gave it a hotter base to start with. All right, so here's Thornton, who I thought hit to a fielder's choice, but Dan corrected me, and it was actually double play ground out. So he's going to lead off 2-3, and that is a fly ball to right field. Taken in by Braggs, 1 away for Brooke Jacoby. Jacoby grounded to third his first time up. 5-6, and he's going to strike out against Nieves. And for Nieves, that's only his second strikeout. But 2 outs, nobody on for Tony Bernazard. Grounded to short his first time. 4-4, switcher to being right-handed is a catcher X. That's Bando. He's a 2E2. Whoops, that red dye. What happened to the red dye? It got popped out of there and went behind the table. I got to find out where it went. It's hidden now. Oh, there it is. It fell way down and got, whoa. I'm too old to be crawling under the table to get these dice, but oh well. We'll do it anyway. All right, so we're going to redo that whole row, obviously, because it got all messed up. So we're going to be going to, and now I'm trying to remember what the result was. Was it a shortstop X? I got distracted there. No, it's a catcher X. That's what it was. Okay, so we're checking Bando on a catcher X. That's what we're doing. All right, a 7. So we go to the catcher spot. And see what we got here, a 2 and a 7. Nobody's on base, so there can't be any wild pitches or anything like that. 2 and a 7's a PP, pop out. And as long as there's no error, there's a 7 there, and he's an E2. That's not a problem. Just a PP, just a pop out to end the 5th inning. So 5 innings in the books, and we got no score from Cleveland. So if you're coming in late, you really haven't missed anything. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Swindell coming back out. Start the 6th. They'll face the bottom of the order, Dale Swain, followed by Mulder and Yount. Swain grounded to short his first time up. 4-8. And that's going to be a solid single up the middle for Dale Swain. Now, he will not be held. He doesn't really run much. Here's Mulder. He's an A bunter, but he's such a good hitter. You almost hate to take the bat out of his hands because he's such a good hitter. But with a scoreless game in the 6th, an argument could be made for a bunt here. Or a hit and run even. But with the hit and run, they're not holding him, so the hit and run would only be a B. Boy, do you bunt, do you hit and run, or do you swing away? See, man, that's the good thing about Strat. You do your managing. To me, Paul, I don't bunt with a 353 hitter. I'm sorry. I'm swinging away. I'm not bunting with a 353 hitter. No way. Gets into a double play, so be it, but I'm not bunting with a 353 hitter. 5-9, and he struck out, so it didn't matter anyway. I guess you could have bunted him to second, but you're taking a chance that he would get a base hit, but it didn't even come off his own card, so that didn't help. Here's Robin Yount. One 8, and that's a ground ball shortstop A. It's a 6-4-3, another tailor-made double play. And maybe that all goes back to not bunting. I don't know, but I was playing for a little bit better than that with these good hitters, but the good hitters didn't show up, at least not in this at bat. You never know how it would have turned out with a sacrifice bunt. It could have been a bad bunt, and you could have bunted into a double play or something. You never know. Second guessing is always a good, one of the favorite sports in the sports community is second guessing, even second guessing yourself. So here's Nieves, and this is his fatigue inning, number 6. Keep an eye on that. Right now he's going to face Bando and then Butler and Franco. All right, we got a 5-8. 5-8's another strikeout for Nieves. That's only his 3rd, but 2nd in the last 3 at-bats. He gets Bando, and here comes Brett Butler. He's 2 for 2. Here's Butler. 6-10. An in-home run chance on a 1-8, but that's an 11, so he's going to fly to right field. It would have been a single anyway because he had weak power, but he loses the single as well. So he just flies out to Braggs for out number 2, and here comes Julio Franco. 6-5, and that's a strikeout again for Nieves. There's a dot there, but he has full endurance going into the next inning, so no problem with fatigue at all for Nieves. We go to the 7th, and we got no score. Well, we technically have a score at 0-0, but nobody's pushed a run across yet. Maybe the better way to say it. There's always a score. All right, here's Swindell, and this is his fatigue inning, number 7. Facing Cooper. 6-9, and that's a home run ballpark blast check. 1-8. That's a 6, but he has weak power, so it'll only be a single for Cooper. Only a single for Mr. Cooper. That'll bring up Rob Deere, and actually the Brewers may pinch run for Cooper here because they need somebody that is a little bit speedy, can get on the bases. So they're going to go with Rick Manning to pinch run. He'll stay in the game as a DH, but Rick Manning will pinch run, and he might be able to try to get a lead. But first things first, Rick Manning is going to come on and pinch run here in the 7th inning for Cecil Cooper. So Manning takes over, gets a few stretches so he can get a good lead, hopefully, for him. To get that good lead, he needs a 5. It's the only way he can do it. Doesn't get it, he will hold. So here's Rob Deere, but they will have to hold him on. So if Rob Deere hits something to second base, it's going to cause Bernazard to go to a 5 range. So Swindell facing Deere. 4-9, and that's a double 1 to 10. That's a 7. It's a double 2 stars, so it didn't matter who was running. Had to stop at third either way you went. But now the Brewers finally have something cooking, as they have second and third and nobody out. And the Cleveland bullpen starting to stir, although their bullpen is horrible. They really don't have much in the way of the bullpen. They do have Mark Huseman is loosening in the bullpen, a right-hander, Mark Huseman. But right now it is Paciorek, and the infield's going to come in. I mean, it's no score top of the 7th, so they're going to try to not give up anything here. So they're going to play the infield in against Paciorek. Infield is in. 6-8, and that's a 1-4 sink. When they don't say lines to short, that's a 20. I know it's kind of getting off the page here a little bit. So we'll show it. 6-8 was a liner to short on a 5-20. And that is a 20. So he lines it to short. 1 away. And that's going to bring up Glenn Braggs. So that was the first obstacle that Swindell had to negotiate, and he certainly did it. That's a 2. Wild pitch or balk. That's a 4. So we're looking at a pass ball, I should say, not a balk. Not a wild pitch, I mean. So it's a 5 for a pass ball chance. No, I'm sorry, it's a 9 for a pass ball chance. And it is a pass ball on Bando. That will score the first run of the game for Bando. Pass ball. All right, here is Braggs now with the runner at third. Infield still in. 1-0 Milwaukee has crossed the plate. 1-6. That's a strikeout for Swindell. He needed that. That is strikeout number 6 for him. 2 down for B.J. Surhoff. Surhoff. 2-7, and he will ground to second to end the inning. So the Brewers get a run, but Swindell minimized the damage the best he could. That run is unearned, by the way, because it's a pass ball. So it wasn't even his fault. That was on Chris Bando that caused that. So we will go to the 7th inning stretch with the score Milwaukee 1 and Cleveland 0. Nieves has full endurance into the bottom of the 7th. And let's see if my coffee is still warm. I can probably keep going. Yep, I can keep going. I don't need a break. We do have a trivia from Kathy in the top of the 8th. Pat Tabler is going to lead it off against Nieves. 3-8, and that's a solid single for Pat Tabler. So back come the Tribe. Of course, Tabler does not run well at all. And here's Joe Carter, the ever-struggling Joe Carter. Carter. 2-10. Ballpark blast. It's 1-11, but that's a 13. And that's the kind of year it's been for Joe Carter. He gets a break on a ballpark blast, and the Devil Die does not cooperate. That encapsulates Joe Carter's season in a nutshell right there. Corey Snyder steps up. That's a 1. Chance of a wild pitch on Nieves, which is a 4. No wild pitch. Here's Snyder. 3-8, and that's a strikeout. Another strikeout for Nieves, his 5th. 2 down for Andre Thornton. Another chance for a wild pitch, 1-4. No wild pitch. So here's Thornton. 2-3, and he flies to right to end the inning. So Nieves 7 shutout innings, and he's still good for the 8th as well, as he keeps a little bit of endurance for himself. We go to the top of the 8th. 1-0 is our score here in Cleveland. Milwaukee leading Cleveland. And now if you turn your attention to the chat box, Kathy has a trivia question for us. I think you said fill in the blank trivia question, I believe. We'll see what she has. While I sip some more coffee. Okay, finish this sentence. Aaron, Ruth, Mays all began and blank their careers in the blank city, but blank teams. Well, it's a lot of filling in the blanks there. Almost felt like Gene Rayburn there with the blanks in the match game. Dumb Dora was so dumb, that kind of thing. So we'll see if anybody Dan says finished same and different, or ended finished same different. Boy, there's a whole lot of stuff there. Adrian Bohr, but was she on the match game? I remember Brett Summers being on the match game. Of course, she wasn't much to look at, but she was funny. Her and Richard Dawson and Charles Nelson Riley were like the main 3, and then they rotated the other 3 people. I think Fanny Flagg was on there some, and different types of people. So we'll see if Dr. D and Dan get it correct. We'll check with Kathy and get the official word on that before we move on to the top of the 8th inning. Oh, he was. I didn't know. I remember that. Now that you mentioned that first seat in the upper left was kind of it was a different person every week. Usually a male, because they kept the females. It was interesting. Oh, they did get it right. All right, come on down. You have won. If you notice on the match game, Richard Dawson was in the middle seat at the bottom, and he always had 2 women on each side. There was never a man in one of those seats. It was always 2 women. He was surrounded by 2 women, and Brett Summers had the 2 men beside her. So that's the way they did it. So, all right, cool. Dr. D and Dan both got it right. There you go. Okay, so here is Jim Gantner. He will lead it off. Again, Huseman in the bullpen if needed. 5-5 lefty. It's going to be another strikeout for Swindell, but to be quite honest, Swindell is probably better than anything they've got in the bullpen right now. So unless he tires, they're going to probably leave him in there. And I think the way he's pitched today, he's earned that trust to keep going. Here's Swain. 4-10, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-19. That is a goner. And Swain has the normal power. Look at it again, 4-10 against a switch hitter batting right-handed is a 1-19 home run. That's a 16. He has normal power. So Dale Swain, a solo home run, makes it 2-0 Milwaukee. And for Swain, that is, let's see how many home runs he's got now on the replay. He hit 25 real world. This is home run number 10 on the replay. And run batted in 29. Brewers lead it now, 2-0. Top of the order from Mahler. .111, and that's a ground ball to third. 2 down. 2 down, and that's going to take us to Robin Yount. This is 6-9. 6-9 is going to be a single against the righty, so Yount gets a 2-out single. That'll bring up not Cecil Cooper, but Rick Manning, because he was the pinch runner. So Rick Manning is on, but do they pinch hit for Rick Manning? They probably will pinch hit with a right-hander, I imagine, if they have a right-hander. And they do. Bill Schroeder, backup catcher, will pinch hit for Rick Manning and be the designated hitter. So Schroeder, not the piano player on Charlie Brown, but the backup catcher for the Brewers, will pinch hit here in the 8th inning. So here's Schroeder, and let me bring Schroeder in on the computer. Let's get him straight on the computer here. All right, something got a miss here on my computer because let's see what happened here. I gave somebody an out that shouldn't have had an out probably. So let me double check it here. I want to get it right. Something wasn't entered correctly. So let's see here. Let's go back to the previous start of the inning here. Gantner, he struck out. Swain homered. I didn't give the home run to Swain on the computer. That's the problem. That was the problem. Okay, so I got to go back and fix that. That's an easy fix. Fortunately, it's only one delete. Now I can give him the home run, and now we're straight. 2-0. Milder grounds out to third, and he out singles. Okay, so now we're back, and now Greg Swindell is listed as fatigued, but Bill Schroeder will be coming on to pinch hit for Manning. So we'll get the numbers on Schroeder. Schroeder on the real season. Hello, Canadian. Schroeder on the real season hit .332 with 14 home runs in just 250 at-bats. On the replay, he's hitting .253, 2 homers, 11 runs driven in 75 at-bats. So here's Schroeder against Swindell. That's a 6-6, and that is a strikeout, but he is tired. So that dot's going to cause this to be a base hit, putting runners on the corner. So there's where the dot comes into play. He was tired, and we hit the dot. So that means he's got to come out. That's my rule. When you hit the dot, you come out. Probably should have took him out one batter prior, but I was trying to get him through 8 innings. It just didn't work out. So he will exit stage left, and that will give us Mark Huseman. So Mark Huseman. Oh, good, Canadian. I hope you enjoyed that game. I think it's a fun game. Definitely think it's a fun game. All right. So we're going to go to the bullpen and bring in Mr. Huseman. We'll get the numbers on him, both in real world and on the replays. 2-3, 5.04 ERA in real world. On the replays, 0-4 with a 6.75 earned run average. 25 innings pitched, 31 hits, 9 walks, and 26 strikeouts. He will be facing Rob Deere. So Huseman will figure out the numbers on Swindell when the inning is over. He's still responsible for these two guys. Huseman's a -2 on his hold, so it makes him a -1. Let's see. I don't believe Schroeder's definitely not being held. Deere is 2 for 2 with a walk, so he certainly had a great game. 5-5 is a solid double off of Huseman, a double to center field. That's going to score at least one. Don't know if Schroeder can score or not. They probably should have pinch ran for him, but they didn't think about it. So it's a 1-9. Wasn't being held as a 1-10. 2 outs makes him a 1-12. The double goes to center. Butler's 0 arms. So it's a 1-12. They're going to send him. They're playing with house money. They're going to send him. And he's in there. Deere, because he runs less than a 13, does not take the extra base, but it's a 2-run double off the bat of Deere, and the Brewers have blown this game open. It is now 4-0. All 4 runs now charged to Swindell. Close the book on him. And here's Paciorek. 6-9 for Huseman. Struck him out, but a little bit too late. Should have had that on the last at bat. That's going to end the inning. 3 runs come in. It is now 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th, and we'll get the final numbers now on Swindell. Close out his day. He deserved a better fate, obviously. Just got no run support. And finally, he just fatigued at the end. Gave him as much as they could give him. As he could give him. 7 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, 3 were earned. because that first run came in on a pass ball, which made that unearned, even though there's been no errors in the game. 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. So he definitely pitched very, very well. That's good enough to win a lot of games, but just not today. So here's Brooke Jacoby to step up. Jacoby, Bernazard, and Bando against Juan Nieves. That's a 5-9, and that's a walk. Leadoff walk to Jacoby. And that'll send us to Tony Bernazard. Milwaukee bullpen starting to stir a little bit. Looks like Mark Clear loosening in the bullpen. It's a 5-8, and he's a switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a strikeout for Nieves, strikeout number 6. So Nieves tell him, not so fast. I might finish what I started. Here's Bando. Do they pinch hit for Bando? I think you kind of have to. He's only a 218 hitter. So they will bring on a pinch hitter for Bando. They will use Carmen Castillo. He is their guy against lefties. He faced lefties 56% of the time. Castillo, a 250 hitter with 11 home runs and 220 at-bats. So Carmen Castillo will hit for Bando here in the 8th. And then Rick Dempsey will catch the 9th. So Bando is going to come on, or come out rather, and Castillo will come on with a runner at first and 1 out. So we'll get the numbers on Castillo on the replay. So Castillo on the replay shows up hitting 226 and 53 at bats, 2 homers, 6 driven in. And Dan, as far as I know, the 87 was the only season where the basic backdrop was this blue infield. I don't like it. It's terrible. I assume that's why they got rid of it after the 1 year, because I'm sure it was not a popular thing with Strat players. All right, so here is Castillo against Nieves. 5-5, and that's a walk by Nieves, and that's the second walk of the inning for Nieves. And he's almost ready to come out of the game. I think he's going to face Brett Butler, and that's going to be his last guy to face, I would assume. They're going to have a righty. They're going to have Mark Clear ready for Julio Franco, but they're going to let Nieves face Butler. That'll be his last guy to face. Nieves facing Butler. 4-10, and that's a ground ball third base X. That's Molitor, 4E22. As good of a hitter as Molitor is, the 4 up there is pretty rough. And the double, it flipped over to an 8. It was a 5. It flipped to 18 at the last minute, so it caught a break. Might even be a double play. 4 and 18 is a G1, so he's got a chance to turn the double play. That's a 12. And Molitor's an E22. E22 there, but there's a 12 right there. A 1 base error on Molitor, E22, and the 12 is right there. So instead of an inning-ending double play, an E5 on Molitor. And that's going to be it for Nieves. Now, that was not Nieves' fault, but they still need to go to the bullpen. They were still going to do that anyway with Mark Clear, because a righty is coming up. In fact, 3-4 right-handers in a row are coming up. So, unfortunately, you can't really, you can't assume it would have been a double play. So, but still, you can assume that it would have been at least been 1 out if he had made the play. That's going to do it for Nieves. His day is done. The Cleveland crowd gives him a golf clap on the way out. And Mark Crystal Clear will be coming on for the Brewers out of their bullpen. We'll go to Clear. And on the replay, Clear is, on the real season rather, 8-5 with a 4.48 ERA. 8-5 with a 4.48 ERA on the replay. He is 2-1 with a save and a 0.78 earned run average. He has really been on his game, and they are depending on him to get out of this jam in a big way. He's a +1 hold, which makes him a +1, but I don't know that that's important right now. And let's see, 23 innings pitched, just 12 hits, 12 walks, and 28 strikeouts. So here we go, bases loaded. The bases are loaded. 1 out. Franco is the tying run at the plate against Mark Clear. 3-7 for Franco, and that's a fly ball center field B ? Potential sacrifice fly. Jacoby runs at an 11. Molitor is a +2 arm, though. So Jacoby's an 11. You take his speed, you add 2 to it, makes him a 13. Plus the 2 there is a 15. 1 to 15, he can score. Man, do you take that gamble, though, with Pat Tabler coming up? 1 to 15. Boy, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. His run is not that important. If he gets thrown out at the plate on a double play, you're really, asking the third base coach what's going on here. So Pat Tabler, and he was infamous for being really effective with the bases loaded. Different than clutch. This is a clutch situation. And actually in the clutch, he's not even rated for clutch. But I know historically, he was always like Mr. Bases Loaded. You can look up the numbers. He was like a 500 hitter with bases loaded. So he's going to be taking on Mark Clear. Bases loaded, 2 outs. He is the tying run. 5-8, and that's going to be a 1 to 6 single. But that's a 9. The dot's underneath that number, so that means that's a 9. The 6 is over here. This is a 9. So he will line to short, and the Tribe come away empty-handed. So Mark Clear does a masterful job of getting out of this inning. Caught some breaks for sure, but sometimes you need breaks. And we will go to the 9th inning. And coming in to catch now will be Rick Dempsey for the Tribe. He will take over behind the plate in the number 9 position. And now we can go to the computer and get the final numbers on Mr. Nieves. He is, of course, in line to get the victory, which would be his 6th of the season. He would improve to 6-2. Swindell would drop to 4-5. So Nieves is going to go 7 1/3 innings. He's going to give up 3 hits and no runs. He does walk 4, strike out 7. So the walks got him a little bit there. But now we go to the 9th. It'll be Braggs, Surhoff, and Gantner due up for the Brew Crew. 4-0 lead. 5-6, and that is a 1 to 2 double. Anything else, he flies to left. So that's a fly ball to Carter in left field, 1 away. 1 down. And that'll take us to Mr. Surhoff, who's 1 for 3 on the day. 4-10, left-handed. Ballpark single check is 1 to an 11. That's a base hit for Surhoff. 1 out single, and that will send us to Gantner. Gantner, your batter. One 6 against the righty. It's a ground ball first base A. It'll be a 3-6-3 double play. Turned nicely by Tabler and Franco. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Last chance for the Tribe as they trail it 4-0. Mark Clear going to try to finish things out and earn the save. He had 6 saves in the real season. So far, he's had 1 in the replay. So his chance to pick up his 6th save, as he obviously came in the 8th inning when there was a save situation. If you brought in Plesac now, it would no longer be a save situation. So they're going to stick with Clear. But if he struggles, they have Plesac in their back pocket. So here's Joe Carter. Hello, Frank. Good to see you. Here's Joe Carter. 5-12, and that's a ballpark blast for Joe Carter, 1 to an 11. And this time the Devil Die doesn't disappoint. Joe Carter finally breaks through a solo shot to lead off the 9th. Look at it again. 5-12 is a ballpark blast. And it's 1 to 11 in Cleveland Stadium, and the Devil Dies an 8. So Joe Carter comes through with a home run. It's a solo shot, so it's only going to be worth 1 run. They're still down 4-1, but at least it gets them off the schneid. And that's home run number 9 for Joe Carter. RBI number 18. Makes it a 4-1 game. And here is Corey Snyder. 4-5, and that is a strikeout for Clear. Out number 1. That will take us to turn it to Andre Thornton. And they're going to pinch hit for Thornton with Mel Hall. So Mel Hall will pick up a bat and hit for Thornton. Mel Hall. Pinch hits here in the ninth. And for Hall, he was a 280 hitter, real world, 18 home runs and 485 at bats. Let's see what he's doing on the replay. Mel Hall. Hall. Where are you? There you are. Hall on the replay is hitting 296, 5 homers, 17 driven in. 4-1 ball game. Clear to Hall is a 6'10", and that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Milder. He's a 4 E22. 4-20. He makes the play on that. The E22 and a 7 shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. E22, nope, there's no 7 there. So Milder makes the play to retire Hall. 2 down. It's going to be up to Bernazard now. And Dempsey's on deck, and they have nobody else to pinch hit for Dempsey, or no way to pinch hit for Dempsey because they have no other catcher. So they're kind of stuck with Dempsey at this point. So it's up to Bernazard to keep it going. 1-3, and he does. 1-5 is a home run. 6-20 is a double. That's going to be a double for Tony Bernazard. Oops, I'm sorry. That should have been Jacoby's at bat, not Bernazard. They got backwards here. So let's look at we'll keep the same roll. 1-3 is a ballpark single check. 18 fails, so that means it's going to be a line out to short and the ball game is over. Not going to re-roll it because it's a perfectly good roll. I just had the wrong cards in place. So it's going to be a line out to short to end the ball game. 4-1. I had the cards just in reverse order for whatever reason. I think when I pinch hit for Thornton, it got mixed up somehow. But anyway, that's your ball game. Cleveland gets a run in the ninth, but that's all they get. And Mark Clear is able to hold on for the win. And the Brewers get a little bit closer to the Yankees now. In fact, I believe they're now tied. But we'll double check it when we get to the standings. 4-11-1 for the Brewers. 1-4-0 for Cleveland. Let's see. Huseman goes an inning and a third. Gives up 2 hits. Nothing else, gets a strikeout. Clear an inning and 2/3. He picks up save number 2. Inning and 2/3, a hit and a run. And no walks and a strikeout. So there you go. Indians win it 4-1 over the Brewers. I'm sorry, the Brewers win it 4-1 over the Indians. Player of the game, I guess you give it to Rob Deere. He was 3 for 3. Actually, he was 3 for 3 with a walk. He singled and doubled twice. He was in the mix of all these runs. So Rob Deere is our player of the game. Could give it to Nieves too, but I'll give it to Deere as the player of the game. So looking at the updated standings up to the second, with this victory by Milwaukee, they are now in a dead heat with the Yankees. They're actually percentage points ahead of the Yankees because they've lost less games. They are 30-15. Yankees are 32-17. So they're in a virtual tie, but technically on percentage points, Milwaukee is now in first place. Toronto's a game back. Cleveland just hopeless. So hope you enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic. Of course, tomorrow we will have a doubleheader, and it will be, I've got the score sheet all ready to go. Game 1 will feature, and I've got game 1 sitting right here. You can see it very well, but bring it over here a little bit better, maybe. Game 1 will be game number 327 on the replay. But game number 1 of the doubleheader will feature Bert Blyleven against Jeff Robinson. And then when that game's over, we merely just flip the page. Game number 2, game number 328, is Frank Tanana against Alan Anderson. So it'll be a doubleheader tomorrow. Probably we'll try to start it at 8:30 if I can. I'll see about doing that. Thank you, Kathy, for your trivia questions. Thank you for everyone else for spending part of your Tuesday morning with me on this. I don't know where it is how it is when you guys are, but it's definitely chilly here. It was 29 degrees when I woke up this morning. So, how many games total are in the replay? I think it was, well, there's one way to figure that out. But of course, I'm adding more to the replay because I'm doing a game of the week for the National League, or game of the day rather. So I'm adding one more game from now until the end for the National League. So it's really throwing off the total. But originally, I'm not sure what the total was. I'd have to figure it out, like 1,200 games or 1,100 games or something like that. I'm not sure. I'd have to figure it out. I believe it was 14 teams, so that's 7 times, whatever 7 times 162 is. So let's see let me get my little calculator out here and see if I can figure that out real quick. 7 times 162, 1,134, but of course it's going to be more than that because now I'm incorporating one game a day for the National League for the last 2 months of the last 5 months of the season, plus the All-Star game, plus playoffs. So it's going to be a lot more than that, but at least it's 1,100. I think I said 1,172, something like that. So it's a lot. And of course, doing the Demolition League games at night as well. So anyway, but it's all in fun. I enjoy it. Wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, that's for sure. But again, thank you all for spending part of your Tuesday morning with me. If you can't make it tonight for the Demolition League game, which will be between the Miami Marlins and the Minnesota Twins, I've already got that score sheet ready to go. Twins are 8-2, Marlins are 2-8. Joe Ryan against Jose Luzardo from Miami. That'll be tonight. Can't join me for that? Then tomorrow morning we got our doubleheader, Minnesota and Detroit from Tiger Stadium. So that will do it from here. Until next time, hope you enjoy whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.